Imagine a town you can't escape from. By day, it's filled with cozy houses. By night, smiling monsters roam the streets. This is the trap the characters of the mysterious series From find themselves in. The show immediately draws the viewer into a web of mysteries. With each episode, there are more questions than answers, and your mind desperately tries to understand what is really going on.
What the fuck is going on?
If you've watched this show, make yourself comfortable. In this video, we'll break down everything that happened over the first 3 seasons of From, and discuss the rumors surrounding the upcoming new season. By the finale of the 3rd season, the series had lifted the veil on many of its mysteries. In the final episode, a lot finally fell into place. So let's start by looking at the beginning. The point of no return for the entire story. At the end of the 15th century, the first European settlers began arriving in America. They encountered the indigenous peoples and were introduced to their religious traditions and rituals. One such ritual involved the sacrifice of children in exchange for a form of immortality. This settlement of colonists fell under the influence of a powerful entity that persuaded them to carry out the ritual. According to the boy in white, the children were born in darkness, and in darkness they were killed.
He said the children were born in the dark, and then they were murdered in the dark.
This means the children were kept underground at all times. We have seen this place both in Miranda's drawings and during Victor and Tabitha's journey. The children were never meant to see sunlight. This may explain why the monsters are unable to hunt during the day. So why did everything begin at the end of the 15th century? Hopefully you haven't forgotten the dates carved into the lighthouse. They mark the beginning and the end of each cycle. The first year shown is 1506. That is when it all began, the year the sacrificial ritual was performed. Since the colonization of America started shortly after Columbus discovered the continent in 1492, the settlement must have existed before the first cycle began. And if we consider that the children were at least 8 years old, it suggests that everything started slightly earlier than 1506. But not everyone chose eternity at the cost of children's lives. We already know that there were 2 who gave the children hope, people who wanted to save their daughter. We don't know what their names were in the past, but in the present cycle, they are Tabitha and Jade. One cycle earlier, they were Miranda and Christopher. Their souls are reborn in an endless cycle of reincarnation, trying to correct the mistakes of a past life. Each time, they are forced to become prisoners of the town. This will continue until they save the children, something that may be impossible to achieve. That is why all of Jade's and Tabitha's visions matter. Here's an example. Do you remember the strange man holding a human skull filled with blood? That was the first Elgin. Just like Elgin, he was tortured, and during the process, one of his eyes was gouged out. He was also used by the woman in the kimono. She forced him, just as she later forced Elgin, to feed his blood to a pregnant woman. That is why he shows what happened. He is trying to pass a fragment of information to Jade. Everything in this cursed place repeats itself, and the monsters strictly follow this cycle of repetition. Every cycle repeats itself, and every cycle tells the same story. Remember what Sarah said to Father Katri in the basement. The voices in her head also want to leave this town.
And they've been waiting for someone to come. Someone who could help them.
Help them do what?
Help them escape. Help them go home. They said it happened before. That 2 cars came on the same day, and everyone died.
Sarah was describing Victor's family story. On that day in 1978, Miranda and Christopher arrived simultaneously. Their cars collided as well, just like the Matthews family's vehicle and Jade's car. That is why Victor draws his mother's van and Christopher's car. These are his childhood memories. 2 cars arriving at the same time mark the beginning of a new cycle. The voices told Sarah to kill the boy, but she didn't realize she was supposed to kill Jade, not his friend. Everything must unfold in a way that benefits this place. and the monsters will not kill those who are still needed to carry out the plan. If something goes off script, the man in yellow intervenes. Do you remember when a sudden storm hit the town? What caused that intervention? Was it the antenna Jim built? Or was it because Boyd and Sarah had gone too far on their journey? No. The real reason was that Tabitha started digging a hole. She was never supposed to go underground. It was after that moment that Tabitha began seeing the children. She crossed the line. But the boy in white already knew this would happen. He knew Tabitha would fall into the underground, which is why he sent Victor to help her. This is not because he can see the future. It's because all of this has already happened before. So it's possible that saving Tabitha is also part of the cycle. When the boy in white once told Christopher the full story of how this place was created and what needed to be done, Christopher didn't believe him. That led to failure. Everyone in the town was killed. Victor was the only one who survived. That is why this time he chose not to interfere directly. Tabitha and Jade must remember everything on their own. And maybe this time, they will have a chance to save the children. That is exactly why the boy in white says that everything is changing.
Why changing now?
Everything's changing now.
What he means is that this time, in this cycle, things are no longer unfolding in a way that benefits this evil place. Right now, everything is shifting. But that raises the main question. How can the children be saved? You might say that the solution lies in going back to the past. Julie can do that. But this is where the fundamental mistake of time travel comes in. If something has already happened, you cannot change it. What you can do, however, is create a time loop. Here's a simple example of such a loop. Julie managed to return to the moment when Boyd was trapped in the well. She lowered a rope, allowing him to escape. Because of that, he later met Martin, and Martin passed the worms on to him. When Ellis needed a blood transfusion, Boyd had no other choice but to take a risk. He went outside at night and passed the worms to Smiley, which killed him. And that act broke the monster's agreement with the main entity. Because of Julie's time travel, Fatima became pregnant in order to resurrect Smiley. Fatima's condition began to worsen, and she had no idea that the woman in the kimono had already started preparing Elgin for Smiley's rescue. Elgin, in turn, began obsessing over visions of an angel and fell under her influence. He fed Fatima his blood and locked her in the cellar, which ultimately cost him his eye. Fatima still managed to give birth, but you remember how all of this started. Julie dropped the rope, and for that very reason, she failed to save her father, Jim. We can see that a future version of Julie is trying to fix everything. She already knew where and when Jim would die, but she didn't know how or by whose hand. That's because she still doesn't understand that she is incapable of changing the past. It seems that Ethan is the only one who truly understands how everything works. He explains to his sister that she cannot change what has already happened.
But you can visit the chapters, but you can't change them.
Why?
No one can change a story once it's been told.
But Julie doesn't grasp this yet, so she will keep trying to fix things. I believe that Julie herself will become the source of all the problems. Her power doesn't lie in changing events, only in creating them, in building new time loops. And eventually, she will succeed at that. Do you remember the strange man from the very first episode? I kept wondering about his question.
Don't you recognize me?
Julie must have been in the past, otherwise he wouldn't remember her. The second known traveler like this is Eloise. Throughout the series, we constantly see a connection between Ethan and Victor. The boy in white appeared to both of them because they are children of the reincarnation of the same soul, Miranda and Tabitha. That would mean Eloise is Julie's past version, and she may have survived through a time loop. It's no coincidence that Victor repeatedly told us how good Eloise was at hiding. On top of that, we were never shown her death. Near the faraway tree, Victor told Tabitha that he found his mother there, and we saw her die. One of the classic rules of cinema says, If a character's death is not shown on screen, they are most likely still alive. So where is she hiding? In the lighthouse? Or is Eloise trapped somewhere in time? Probably neither. The answer has always been right in front of us. I once asked myself how Boyd managed to find the goat. It clearly must have been tied somewhere before. And who planted the vegetables near the lake? The places the monsters never enter are those creepy huts. They most likely fear the protective symbols carved into the corners. At night, Kenny and Jim heard strange noises. Someone came into the settlement. If it had been one of the monsters, it would have spoken. They always do. But this time, there was silence. That means it was a human, and a terrified one. Because Eloise, after a very long time, had finally encountered someone alive. That's why I believe we will see her in Season 4. You've probably noticed that the monsters are dressed in a very specific way. There's a cowboy, a bride, a tough guy, a cheerleader. There must be a sequence and a reason behind these outfits. Some of the monsters even move in pairs. The cowboy is always with his lady. During Smiley's resurrection ritual, the monsters were also standing in a very specific order, male and female paired together. Randall told Boyd on the bus that the monsters have their own habits, and that one particular pair always sits by the pool.
There's another couple like to sit over there by the pool, just...
You really watch these things closely.
Yeah, well, there's no TV.
Throughout the series, we are constantly shown playing cards, mostly standard decks. When Tabitha reached the real world and visited Victor's father, Henry, he showed her his children's bedroom. On a shelf, there were 2 games, a card game called Old Maid and a board game called Tiddlywinks. But Old Maid is the one that matters here. The game dates back to the 1930s. The deck has changed over time, but that's not the important part. The rules are simple. Players exchange cards until they form matching pairs, a man and a woman. What's truly fascinating are the illustrations on the cards. They feature all of our monsters: the milkman, the cheerleader, the cowboy, the ballerina, the gentleman, the nurse, the housemaid, and even a red-haired smiling man named Harry. This cannot be a coincidence, which means Victor is the reason behind the monster's appearance. He imagined them this way. Most likely, children are capable of influencing this place with the power of their imagination. But what if each child can create their own fantasies? Something new, something personal. And there aren't many children left in the town. Right now, there's only Ethan. That could explain all the strange inconsistencies. There is electricity in the houses, but no wires and no power source. Children know that if you flip a switch, the light turns on, but they have no idea how it actually works. You might say this is just another coincidence or an insignificant detail, but you'd be wrong. Every small detail in this series carries meaning. Here's a simple example. When Fatima learned she was pregnant in Season 2, a pendant appeared around her neck. At the time, I didn't think much of it, but it looks strikingly similar to Rosemary's pendant. If you've seen Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby, you know that the main character becomes a victim of a ritual. She is given a pendant that belongs to a satanic cult. She is meant to give birth to the devil's child. Throughout her pregnancy, she suffers from severe pain. She can't eat normal food. Raw liver becomes more appealing than fresh vegetables. She slowly begins to lose her sanity. And in the end, when the child is born, it is taken away from her. The exact same story unfolds with Fatima. That's why every single detail in this series exists for a reason.
Something tells me that this, it has to mean something.
There's also one detail connected to Clara. This mysterious woman has been bothering me for a long time. Clara is always where she shouldn't be. What was she doing on the roof? How did she even get up there given her clearly non-athletic build? Clara's appearances are almost always significant. After she shows up, visions tend to follow. She skipped the meeting, yet somehow knows exactly what was discussed there. People like her are the last ones you'd suspect of anything bad, but someone has to be the plant. And the most interesting part is what Clara is doing in the drawings inside the van. These drawings depict all the residents from 1978, the cycle when Victor was still a child. And right there among them is Claraara.
Well, I got one rolling paper left. So I'm getting stoned.
Okay.
Now let's move on to what we can expect from Season 4 of From. The premiere is scheduled for April 2026, and the season will once again consist of 10 episodes. The producers have also hinted that the show has potential for further seasons, so the story is unlikely to end with the 4th one. As for the crew, there are no major changes behind the scenes. This means the style and overall direction of the series will remain the same. The key cast members are also staying on and will return to their roles. That said, the fate of some characters after the Season 3 finale remains uncertain. Jim, for example, is dead, but in the world of From, that doesn't necessarily mean much. I think we may still see him more than once, possibly as a ghost. Or perhaps Julie will manage to change the course of events and save her father after all. The creators have already announced a new character. In Season 4, a girl named Sophia will appear, described as a shy and vulnerable pastor's daughter. She will be played by young actress Julia Doyle, as reported by Deadline and other outlets. Most likely, Sophia will arrive together with a new group of people. The creators have also slightly lifted the veil on the themes of the upcoming season. In an interview, John Griffin noted that Season 4 will mark the beginning of a new journey for the characters, and the question is whether it will lead them home or pull them even deeper into the nightmare. Griffin also emphasized that the mythology of this place will take center stage. Meanwhile, lead actor Harold Perrineau, Boyd, has hinted that a rift will form within the group of survivors. Some will be willing to risk everything to save the ghost children, while others, hardened by loss, may grow bitter and choose a darker path. To sum it all up, From continues to keep viewers in a constant state of tension. Ahead of us lie the answers to the remaining mysteries, and, hopefully, a worthy resolution to the story.
I don't want to be on a quest anymore.